takes me just a second to get to it. There we go. So we are recording. You might have to click that you agree to that for us. We would like to welcome you and briefly go over our agenda today. We are going to do just a few minutes of welcoming you and introductions. We're going to share a few updates. We have some wonderful stories from our self-advocates today, and then we're going to do some breakout sessions. I'm going to ask in advance, please don't run away when it's time to do the breakout sessions. We have fun stuff to share during our breakout sessions, and we promise to put you in big enough groups that you're not going to feel alone. During our breakout sessions, we're going to talk about what is our why and have a little time to share out. And then we'll spend a few minutes wrapping up and having a little bit of time of just engagement. Your facilitators for today are me. I'm Tracy Manns, and I am actually not the program manager of this. I borrowed somebody else's slide. I am the project manager for the Family Resource Network of Ohio, and I'm also the lead parent facilitator for a program we have here at Nisonger called Aspirations. And I want to introduce to everybody Meredith Mendoza. Meredith is the program administrator for Family Outreach and Education, Division of Policy and Strategic Direction. That's a heck of a title, Meredith. All right, Meredith, I'm going to hand this off to you.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We're so excited that you're here. The reason we're together today is to learn about Charting the Life course and to learn how we're using it in our practices every day, and how other folks are using it, and just get ideas. Next slide, sorry.
That's okay.
So here are a few updates. So here we have a list of events coming up and training, so that if you're wanting to learn more, we have trainings starting as soon as tomorrow. And please visit the website, frnoohio.org. And I'm super excited to announce March 17th, 2023, we have our Charting the Life course showcase. We are really, really thrilled to have Dr. Kerry Magro. He is a self-advocate. He'll be coming from New Jersey, and he has a wonderful story and inspiration to share with everybody. If you have watched Netflix show called Love on the Spectrum, Dr. Magro was one of the consultants. And if you're on TikTok, you may see him pop up every so often with some great inspirational stories and tips. Next slide. Just a little housekeeping. If you have any questions or comments, please make sure to add it to the chat. Tracy and I will be watching and helping you with all of your questions along the way. So we are really excited to share some information about some self-advocates. Barb Stefaris was not able to make it today, but she will do an introduction on how these self-advocates have used Charting the Life course. So sit back and enjoy the stories, and Tracy will play our videos. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Barb Stefaris, and I work with the Family Resource Network of Ohio. I am unable to attend in person today, but I want to share some information. Our vision is that people with lived experience, or self-advocates, family members, and professionals all use and understand Charting the Life course principles, tools, and resources to support and empower people to have their good lives. 4 years ago, we wanted to reach more self-advocates, or people with lived experience, in a more organized manner. We approached the Ohio Self-Determination Association, or OSDA, which oversees the Project STIR training in Ohio. Project STIR is a peer-to-peer leadership training. There are about 40 statewide Project STIR trainers who are supported by their coaches. We worked with OSDA and a group of trainers and coaches to update the Project STIR training and identify how we could include charting the life course principles, tools, and resources during the training. At the end of the 3 days or 2.5 days, we wanted the participants to leave with the beginning of their life course portfolio. I say the beginning because, as we all know, we think about things, we write them down, and as we think about them more or talk with others, we learn more about ourselves and what we want in our lives, and we add. So I always tell people it's the beginning. Every self-advocate who attends Project STIR attends with an ally, and that can be a family member or a professional. The ally, also learns and actively participates in all the activities and learning experiences, in addition to supporting the person they attend with. That means that with every Project STIR training, we teach 15 to 35 self-advocates, as well as 15 to 35 allies who can also take that information and use it to support and empower people and families. You can learn more about Project STIR by going to osdaohio.org and then go to the tab that says Project STIR. Today, you will hear from some self-advocates, a Project STIR statewide trainer, a Project STIR coach and family member, and a professional. We have asked Carissa, Deanna, Logan, Stephanie, and Sue to share their thoughts and experiences. They have been asked to share what they liked about beginning to develop, and I say beginning again, their Charting the Life Course portfolio, which includes their one-page person-centered description, their life trajectory, and the integrated support STAR. They also will share how they plan to use what they learned and developed. I hope as you listen to them, you may hear some ideas that may be helpful to you to use personally and professionally. Again, I want to express my appreciation to Carissa, Deanna, Logan, Sue, and Stephanie for sharing so much about their lives. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Barb Safaris, and I work with.
Sorry about that. I couldn't get myself unmuted for a second. We just really want to thank Barb. She worked very hard to get this together for us and met with all these wonderful self-advocates and their family members and supporters. We want to introduce Deanna. You can see Deanna's on the call with us today. Thanks, Deanna. And we're going to let her tell her story.
Hi, everyone. My name is Deanna C. Dilly, and I am almost 43 years old. I love my friends, family, my bird Daisy, my dog Tater. I was born with congenital contractural arachnodactyly, or Beal syndrome. This basically means that joint contractures don't allow me to fully straighten my arms, legs, or fingers. I am also legally blind in my left eye. After living with a roommate for 2.5 years, I have been living by myself for almost 10 years. In school, you always hear about the kid who was chosen last. I was that kid. Due to severe anxiety, which wasn't diagnosed until years later, I just stood there and listened to nasty remarks. By 5th grade, I was completely mainstreamed. This was perfect timing since I was moving from Toledo to Cleveland. Now, with my anxiety under control for the most part, I am slowly learning to stand up and advocate for myself. I participate in Zoom chats and activities with We Thrive Together and People First. I also read my poem, This Is Who We Are, at the ADA March for Access. During the Project STIR training, I mentioned writing. Though my main focus today is poetry, I started out with short stories. I have also attempted a couple novels. My main goal as an author is to publish my first book for and about people with disabilities. I have recorded a couple poems which were posted on our Facebook page at My Choice. While attending Project STIR, I talked about how I advocate not only for myself, but for others with disabilities. I will read my poem later on about my experience the first 2 days. I was able to read it before we graduated, and they plan to use it in their curriculum permanently. As part of my one-page profile, what people admire most about me is I have always been creative. I have never given up on my dreams. They simply shifted a little. I went from wanting to be a quote famous children's author, end quote, to being a poet and writing on all sorts of topics. In creating the Integrated Support and Services store, my sole focus was, you guessed it, to publish my poetry books. More of my personal strengths and assets are that this has been my lifelong dream. I have posted poetry online. I'm beginning to speak more publicly and have hosted and participated in talent shows at my church. At Project STIR, I shared some of my acknowledgements. The Knights of Columbus Division from Canada reached out wanting to use one of my poems in a presentation. I was contacted by the Center for Learning in Westlake, Ohio, who used 2 of my special needs poems for worksheets for honors students to analyze. In 2013, an online magazine for and about people with disabilities based out of the United Kingdom used my Special Olympics Oath poem alongside a video from Coca-Cola sponsoring the Summer Games in Great Britain. After Able magazine used this poem, my caregiver agency asked me to read it at their senior staff conference in Columbus. they used one of my patriotic poems the following day for closing ceremonies. Last week, I attended the Synergy Conference at Kalahari Resorts. Here I learned more about advocating for myself and how to better handle situations. I loved listening to the various speakers. With the help of my support system, we're actively looking for options to publish my books. After my initial book is published, I would love my poems to be recorded for the blind and visually impaired to listen to. As I mentioned earlier, I wrote a poem entitled This, a Project Stir. I believe it is time to share it with all of you. This is Project Stir by Deanna C. Dilly. 3 days of training, 3 days of making new friends, 3 days of learning who we are. This is Project Stir. 3 days of problem solving, 3 days of performing skits, 3 days of having fun. This is Project Stir. 3 days of learning advocacy, 3 days of standing up for ourselves, 3 days of teaching others. This is Project Stir. A lifetime of training, a lifetime of friends, a lifetime of knowing who we are. We are Project Stir. A lifetime of problem solving, a lifetime of performing daily tasks, a lifetime of having fun. We are Project Stir. A lifetime of advocating, a lifetime of standing up for ourselves, a lifetime of helping others. We are Project Stir and Ohio leaders. Why did I use a Charting the Life course tool? I use the integrated support store because it is the best way to outline what supports I already have to fulfill my lifelong dream. How did I share this? I shared these supports with other Project Stir attendees by reading what I had written down. I will continue using this information for publishing any current books and future books. What was the impact? The impact was that the entire Project Stir training had on me was that I feel a little better speaking up for myself. I know that I'll grow more confident in time. I plan to continue using this training in all my goals in life. Thank you.
Wow, Deanna, that's amazing. You're so accomplished. You're making me feel like I really need to get moving here. I got to do a little bit more because I'm not going to be able to keep up, I'm afraid. No, that was really great. We appreciate that. Going to move on, maybe if I don't keep doing it, to Stephanie. And let's hear from Stephanie, who works with you, right, Carissa? Yes, I thought so. Let's hear from Stephanie.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Caldwell, and I am an independent provider in Cuyahoga County. I have been working with individuals with developmental disabilities for over 25 years. In August of 2022, I did attend Project Stir as an ally for 2 individuals I support as a provider. I've heard about this tool, Charting the Life course, from various Zoom meetings that I've been a part of, but I wasn't formally aware of the tool until I did attend Project STIR. The cool thing is that we were able to do this, for ourselves too. And with all the tools that I've ever used throughout my career, it was really kind of neat to see how it played out with my own life. I used the one-page profile where I was able to hear input from the people sitting at my table. It's always good to hear positive things about yourself. I was able to also give input to them as well. I had never really thought about how best to support myself. I think I get so caught up in the day-to-day and the grind that I don't even think about it. And I'm sure that this impacts how I interact with other people. I also use the trajectory tool. It was really cool to think about like my past and present experiences, good and bad, and how they led me to where I am now and where I'm headed in the future. I was able to share while we were in our groups at Project STIR, as well as within the larger group. I also shared it with my husband when I got home and my kids, because I thought it was important for them to hear my own perspective on my own life. And maybe it helped make a little bit more sense to them, why I am the way I am. The impact that using this tool had on me as a provider is that it gave me a new perspective when I think about the individuals that I work with. In the past, we would go page by page, question and answer, what's important to you, what's important for you, but maybe not knowing why. But this really forces you to dig deep and emphasize the importance of things that you do and don't want in your life. I also liked how the trajectory tool showed progression, where I was when I first started in my career versus where I am today. I've learned so much and changed so much. It really is fluid, and you really can't, give a question and answer to how your life is when it's ever changing. I couldn't do what I do today without all my experiences, good and bad. I was also able to see those that I work with light up when they connected the dots in their own lives, which was really awesome. It really put a voice to what has been written down in plans and various assessments that they had taken part of over the years for as long as they can remember. And my favorite thing is that it showed how different and unique each one of us is. It's so important to recognize that no two people are the same and can be supported in the exact same way. And it provides valuable information in being able to plan and support current and future visions and goals for everyone. Thanks so much. Have a good day. Hello, my name is
Hello, I'm Logan Detweiler from Medina County. I am a Project STIR trainer and a Council of Ohio Leaders Board member. Today, I'm here to talk to you about your Charting the Life course trajectory. The first 2 days of a Project STIR training is where you are determining what is important to you in your future good life. On the third day is when we start completing your trajectory. It is what you want in your future good life and how to get it and how to earn what you want and need. Once I completed my trajectory, I showed it to my parents and my SSA. This helps them see the goals for my future and how to help and best support me. My one goal on my trajectory I am working on right now is getting my driver's license. The last Project STIR class I trained at was in Independence back in late August and early September. That was an exciting group of people who wrote down a lot of their ideas to share with us and how they want to best support them. After going through the first 2 days of training on day 3, the first 2 days of training, they were ready to plan how to write their good life with their trajectory sheets. I have my trajectory right here in front of me. What do people like and admire about me? I am smart, helpful, kind, reliable, and creative. What is important to me? my girlfriend, God, my parents, my job at Walmart, Special Olympics sports, my friends, family, and my coworkers. How to best support me include treat me well with respect, show me how to do things inside and out, don't smoke near me, smoke away from me, help me get to work on time, and don't give me any negativity. Some of my past life experiences that supported my vision for a good life are that I got adopted in March of 1996. I became a Project STIR trainer in April of 2016, and I became an Eagle Scout, which is the highest rank in Boy Scouts that a Scout can ever achieve, in June of 2013. Some of my life experiences in the past that pushed my arrow towards the things that I do not want include getting bullied in school, when people speak up for me, picking the wrong job to work at, and getting made fun of in school, especially at a young age as a young child. Some of my goals for my good life that I want it to look like include getting engaged, getting my driver's license, coming to more Project STIR trainings, teaching people about my disability and how it affects me, and having a really good job. Some of the things that I do not want in my future good life are getting taken advantage of, negative people, and people to control me. On day 3 of the training, we work on the last page of this. It's called the Integrated STAR. The Integrated STAR is a goal that you want to accomplish in your future good life. There are five sections of the STAR that you need to fill out, including technology-based supports, your personal strengths and assets, relationship-based supports, eligibility-specific, and community-based supports. The one goal on my integrated STAR is learning how to drive. On my personal strengths and assets, I have driven a car before. I did my book training and practiced and passed on the first try when I got my temps. My eligibility specific supports include taking the test to see if I can drive or not. Community-based supports is going to a driving school somewhere around in northeastern Ohio. My relationship-based supports, including my parents showed me how to drive. And my technology-based supports included an online driving course. In the middle of my STAR, I've written things in the corners of the STAR that include getting a permit book to learn all the rules of the road and all the signs that we all need to learn, learning about the brakes and the pedals of the car, saving money for everything, going to a virtual driving school, and starting to understand the cost of everything. So this is my Charting the Life Course trajectory. I want you to tell us what your future goals in your good life would be like.
That's awesome. So Logan did want to be here today, but as he mentioned, he's got a job, and so he's busy. So he was fabulous. Let's see if I can get this one to go and not
Hello,
replay. No,
I'm
can't do
Logan
it.
Detweiler.
There we go. Now we're going to hear from Sue. This is Logan's mom. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Sue Detweiler. I'm a coach for Logan Detweiler from Medina County. And going through the Project STIR trainings and seeing the beginnings of everyone trying to determine what's best for them and how to get it. On the trajectories, the day 1 and day 2, people are still filling out what they would like to see in their lives. And sometimes they don't understand the means to get it. So talking amongst themselves, thinking about the different areas that they could get help with, that is a vital, important spot in their trajectory. And once they start figuring out who can help them and what they want to do, then the first 2 days are getting that all together. And then the third day, you see so much, so many ideas, so many thoughts of like, gosh, I didn't really know I could do that. And putting it together, it's a very enlightening time. The last group that was trained in independence, they were very, very vocal, and they also had wonderful ideas. And on the third day, when they were doing their trajectories, they had life plans and were ready to use them. So it was a wonderful thing to see it. And in each and every group that we go to and Logan teaches, it's invigorating to see the different areas that people come up with, their ideas, and really what they want to be and do. So it's a very thankful area of being a coach and to watch Logan help train. So that is why I think the trajectory is a wonderful tool.
I was just getting ready to type in chat. I loved when she just said they had life plans and they were ready to use them. I thought that was a fantastic statement.
Hello, my name is Sue Detweiler.
There we go. And there's Carissa. Her name says Stephanie Caldwell on the screen, but she's really here as Carissa today. And Carissa's going to tell us her story too. Here we go.
0. Hello, everyone. My name is Carissa Kostronic. I'm 28 years old, and I live at Strongsville with my family and my dog, Biggie Smalls. He can't rap, but he can sing. And I am a traumatic brain injury survivor because of September 24th, 2010. I attended Project STIR August of 2022. It was a real good eye-opener for me. What part of the tool did I use? I used the one-page profile where I was able to hear input from the people sitting at my table, as well as think about what's truly important to me. I was able to put into words how best to support me, which I had never really thought about before in that way. I also use that trajectory tool. I always talk about my past and where I am now, but I hadn't necessarily connected the dots from past to present to future. I was able to identify things that do and don't want in my life. I also used the integrated services and supports model. This brought the tools all together for me. I was able to see all the people and supports I want and need in my life to lead a fulfilling life. How do I share it, you might ask? I completed the tool at Project STIR. While we were in groups, I was able to share with the group when asked. I was also able to listen to others share. I like that we're all different and nobody's story is the same. We all want different things for ourselves, but still working towards a common goal. To get independent, baby. What was the impact? I liked when we went around at our table and we're able to give positive things that we all liked and admired about each other. I was surprised by how people viewed me in such a positive manner, in good light. Sometimes I feel like I'm a nobody and I have nothing good to offer, but hearing the positive and affirmation from my peers gave me the encouragement to stay positive and keep doing what I'm doing. I also like the fact that this tool gives everyone a voice. Everyone had an opportunity to be seen and heard without judgment. Even if they used the communication device, they were still given the opportunity to share their thoughts, how they handled different situations, and advocating for their lives. Using the trajectory tool, I realized how far I have come in 12 years. It took me back to reflect on how my life was right after my crash and look at where I am now. I realized that I still have a lot of work to do towards increasing my independence, but I know that it is possible. I was able to make goals for myself because of using the tools. I always said my dream was to become a motivational speaker, but now I know I am a motivational speaker and making a difference in people's lives in a positive way. I know what I want for myself in my life and who I want to help me achieve that. Thank you all. God bless and have a wonderful day. Peace.
Peace, Carissa. That was awesome. I think Meredith summed it up the best when she said, I love your energy. Me too. Me too. You're fantastic. Thank you.
Zero.
All righty. So we appreciate everybody talking with us. We are going to move into our breakout rooms. I'm going to try and get fancy and I'm going to try and share the questions to the breakout rooms. So, bear with me if we have a few technical difficulties. We're going to get through it. But when you're in there, we'd like for you to take just a second to introduce yourselves. Quickly pick a person to share out to the larger group afterwards. We're probably going to be in there for about 20-ish minutes or so. And then we're going to allow 20 to 25 minutes for share out and discussion. Whoops, bear with me. So this is a listing of our Charting the Life course resources and tools. This is what I'm going to try and share into your breakout room. So you don't have to write them down. In theory, I think most of us are familiar with them. And your goals when you're in your breakout rooms is to talk about your why. So of course, during our community of practice meetings, we focus on hearing why and how we've integrated Charting the Life course into our work and life. So when you're in the breakout rooms, we want to give you the opportunity to share your story, maybe take 2-3 minutes so that we can hear a few. And then that person that you've chose to take notes and share out, we ask that you do that. And these will be the questions. You're going to pick one of those tools or maybe more and share, why did you use it? Who did you use it with? And what was the outcome or the impact of that? How does that sound? Everybody got that? Okay. I'll try and share it in the rooms. I'm going to put you in rooms of 5 to 6 participants, in that we don't want anybody to feel too put on the spot. I'll do 6 participants per room. And I'm going to open the rooms now. And again, then I'm going to try and share a screen for this. So we'll see you all back in about 20 minutes. Thank you. All right. Looks like everybody's coming back. So did you enjoy your time in your breakout rooms? You usually do too. Awesome. Thank you. So let me get my screen up because I'm not sure it's sharing the right thing for me. Bear with me just a second here and let me try that again. There we go. You guys are seeing it now, right? Okay. So we need some folks to share out. Tell us about which tool that you've used. Who did you use it with and what was the income or what did you learn during your session? Who wants to go first? That's perfect, Marian. Let's do it.
Okay, well, I've only just come on the meeting because I was in other meetings, so I apologize for being late. And this is not exactly the question you're asking, but I did want to report that last week I was in DC all week for the Family Voices Conference. And I was actually presenting with Mary Turner from UMKC and also Tammy Allen from Kansas. And our presentation was about using Charting the Life course with family organizations. So I was talking about how we have integrated with Celia's help, Charting the Life course fully into our parent-to-parent program. And there was a lot of interest in that. People, it's still, I don't know that we're the only people doing it, but if there's other P2P organizations that are doing it, they're few and far between. But people who were at the presentation were like, oh, they could really see how Charting Life course would be very helpful with the parent-to-parent program in organization and training, and also for the support parents themselves as they are supporting others. So it definitely seemed to, send some light bulbs off. I got a couple of business cards, a few people who are interested in learning more, and Marcia Quinn, who is one of the co-executive directors of Parent to Parent USA, has said that she would like me to present about Charting the Life course and P2P at one of their monthly coffee chats. So the tools that we integrated with Celia's help into that were the Support Star, one-page personal profile, and of course the trajectory.
That's awesome, Marian, excuse me. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay. Who's up next? Yeah, Amy.
Hi, I can share.
That'd be great.
Our group was great because it was sort of divided equally into people who have used Charting the Life course and people who are being trained on Charting the Life course. And through the ARC of Ohio, I am currently being trained, as Tracy knows, through this topic. And I also have a 19-year-old son with autism. So I'm very curious to see how this can be a benefit in our personal life. So basically, we started out talking Dee as a parent mentor, as well as parent of two individuals who are using this curriculum. And she had stated she uses, I think it's the integrated STAR. Forgive me if I'm getting this, all the terminology, and Dee, you can pop in too. And she really used it as a tool as a deadline to kind of keep the team accountable. Like, oh, we want to do this by a certain date. Well, then let's meet and have that done. We're going to have it done by this day, which I thought was kind of cool. She also liked having visuals that families can take away from that. I know for my son with autism, he's a very visual learner. So to kind of have this all mapped out for him is going to be key. We also talked with Stephanie and Carissa. Carissa found the one-page profile helpful because she could really see how others saw her in that perspective. She could see, and it gave her such joy and delight to hear such unexpected positives from these people who maybe had only been tangentially related in her life. So that impact that she's had on others really kind of was able to shine through. And then Stephanie, her independent provider, like the trajectory tool and how that kind of helped her explain to her family. And Stephanie, you can jump into if I'm saying that incorrectly. What journey that she is currently on as her role as an independent provider. And I think Barb is an SSA, and she likes the mapping relationships tool because it helps really identify those natural supports that are out in the community, which as a parent, I kind of go, oh, don't tell me about natural supports. Don't use that with me. I cringe at that a little. But, diving a little bit deeper, where can you find those natural supports out in your community outside just sort of your nuclear family?
Thank you, Amy. That was really good. I appreciate that. Awesome. Who else is willing to share with us?
I can share from room number 2.
That's awesome, Lynn. Thank you.
Okay. So we had, I'm not going to be able to remember anyone's name now because it's not in front of me anymore, but we had a lady who said that she really liked using the STAR and the trajectory with families, and that families who are grandparents raising their grandchildren with special needs were especially responsive to these because they have a really urgent sense of needing to figure things out and plan things, and everything is sort of, I commented and said, having these paper tools are so good because especially in that kind of a situation, you're feeling overwhelmed. There's so many things swirling around in your brain, and it's hard to land on what next steps should be. And I also, in that conversation about the kinship care and the grandparents, said that I felt the vision tool was a really great tool to use in that instance because of the fact that it lets you write down maybe all the things that you're concerned about. And then once you get them all down on paper, allows you to prioritize which ones are the most urgent maybe, and it helps to guide you towards next steps and what priorities should or could be. And I shared during our breakout session that the experiences and questions booklet, or the blue booklet as we call it, is one of my favorite resources to use in all situations because it's kind of a comprehensive, basic Charting the Life Course 101 in a handbook sort of thing, because it gives the background to the framework and the philosophy and all of that. But especially, I love the fact that I can, if I'm doing a training for Ohio Family to Family with any group of people on Charting the Life Course, I can, or not necessarily on Charting the Life Course, but at training, because I had incorporated Charting the Life Course into all of my transition boosters. I can go into the blue book and turn to the page that represents the topic I'm covering in my transition boot camp. So if we're talking about employment at Transition Booster, I can turn to daily life and employment in the booklet. And if it's a transition booster, I can look at the transition life stage column, and all of those great questions, those guiding questions that appear in that column, I can use within my event, within the conversation time of my training, to guide the conversation, to be a discussion prompter or starter, to get families really talking about that particular life stage and life domain, to sort of do a deep dive. And then, of course, all the things that people say, I collect on a integrated support star and give back to them at the end in a way that they can understand and remember what was talked about.
That's wonderful. All right, room 3, you're up. Who's going to share out from there? Let's see, who's still on the call that I can get? Looks like Jenna's gone. Amanda, let's see. Delina, I'm sorry. Are you willing to share with us?
I
No
think
luck.
Delina was providing services. I thought we were room 5. I'm sorry.
Oh, we only had 3. Nope, there you go. It's
Oh,
you guys,
well.
Amanda. Thank you. Yeah, that'd be great.
I think we had a lot of great conversation. I explained that I knew what charting the life course was. I haven't been fully trained on it, but I feel like I have a really good perspective of it. As a provider, working on those assessments and progress reports to submit to the team and offer recommendations for ISP revisions, new outcomes or experiences we can get added for folks, and just pulling out that quality information. I've heard a lot of providers and even SSAs saying that the new ISPs are super repetitive. My rebuttal was if we can use these tools to pull out good information, then it's going to be more quality instead of that repetition. So our group had a really good mix. We had an SSA provider. We have, I can't remember your name, I'm sorry, is actually providing services now while we were talking, Jenna with Ocali. So it was a good group. I got some good recommendations. I think Jenna said she liked the trajectory tool, and I can't remember the SSA's name that we had with us, but she likes the one-page profile and gave some really good examples of when they've used them, how they've used them, and just getting those conversations starting and sharing that information with the team.
That's awesome, Amanda. Thank you. And thank you everybody for participating. I really appreciate that. I will say personally, I love all of the tools, but I really like to start with that one-page person-centered description. It is my favorite, especially when I'm working with my self-advocates, right? Helping them have that great picture of themselves and helping them to help provide that understanding to others in whatever situation that may be, doctor's offices, work, whatever. But then I also wanted to note that with my aspirations group, I teach the parents section of that group. And we do 12 weeks of work. And on that 12th week, we've been talking about charting the life course along the way. That's when we pull out 2 of the tools that Lynn actually mentioned and sort of wrap up with those. We spend a few minutes with the mapping tool. After we've got our goals together and we know what we think we want, by using the trajectory and the star, sitting down to help map those relationships and make that plan for the future, I think is so important. And who's going to help us carry out those plans, right? And then we always wrap up by using that vision tool and saying, okay, we have all these big plans, but how are we going to prioritize those? What do we want to do when we leave here? And I always ask them to just put just 2. If you don't feel like mapping out the whole thing, just put the next 2 things that you think you should do. And we get a lot of good feedback that, you know, the way charting the life course breaks everything down into manageable chunks is helpful for the whole family. So let's see, bear with me here as we try and move on to the next one. We have a few minutes left. We're 11:16. We have until 11:30 today for open forum and networking. And we still have Deanna on the call. And it looks like we might have lost Carissa. Are you still with me? I'm not seeing my whole screen. Might have lost Carissa. There she is. I see ya. Thank you. You popped up. So, and then we have Sandy here, who is Deanna's mom. So I wonder if anybody has questions or would like to chat with them while we have the opportunity, or just share out and chat in general. Y'all, I'm not comfortable with a lot of silence. If you don't want to hear me talk, somebody else better say something. I'll fill it, I promise.
I'll pop on and say something because I don't
Thank
mind
you.
talking. You know that. Come on. Lynn's right under you on my screen, and Meredith, I see her chuckling too. I shared with my group, and I just wanted to make sure that other people knew, because a lot of what I'm hearing is that transition piece, that a lot of people are continuing to use this as transition, but Corey's aware of this, and I know you are, Tracy, but
Yeah.
one of the things that they did last year is a little bit of kind of like research into different tools that can be used by families who have younger kids, and to plan for that successful outcome that we want for our kids. And Charting the Life course was the winner by staff as well as by parents. And so I know in Dublin, I don't know what other entities, Corey might be able to fill you in on that. I know in Dublin, we are going to do some additional training for our staff, the elementary staff that participated in this in February. And then I'm also going to host a training for families, of younger kids. So that way we start opening that door, because it's a tool that can be used in so many different ways. I can honestly say transition is probably the least, as far as just transitioning into adulthood, it's probably the least amount of times that I'm using these tools. I'm using them in so many other fashions. And so I just wanted us to always be cognizant of where can these tools be used? How can they support not only that individual, but perhaps a team? I shared in my group, and she reported back on that we used it. We used the integrated, Celia and I used the integrated STAR and the trajectory to pretty much light a fire under people's bottoms on this big team, and we were able to say, okay, this is your responsibility, because we did the integrated STAR. This is what we have in place now. This is what we need in place for a particular transition for a kid. And we were able to look at that. Okay, whose domain would that fall under, right? And then Celia and I did that on the side after the meeting, after we did the STAR, and said, oh, that follows under this domain. Well, we need it done by X amount of time so that the next person can do their step, right? And we were able to go back and did we meet the targeted outcome that we wanted everything done by the end of June? No, but everything was done by the end of September rather than 3 years later, because we know how things like this can get lost in the system. So just being aware that there's so many uses for these tools, that we can plan just about anything in our lives using them.
Wow, Dee, thank you for sharing out. That was really good. Really good. Anybody else?
Oh, I'm going to piggyback on what Dee said
Yeah.
too. And like part of our conversation was, I had said, I do find myself using it a lot for transition, and my own daughter is right in the midst of her transition. But I always try to keep in mind that nothing is ever set in stone. You can't ever, I look forward to when my daughter has transition in the rearview mirror, and she, maybe like Logan, okay, has a job that she likes, is doing fun activities that she likes, has friends that she hangs out with, and all of that stuff. But we all know that nothing is forever and things are always changing, and we're going to have to keep using these tools as our kids become 30 and 40 and on down the road, in order to help them continue to set goals, to continue to grow and learn and become, the person they're meant to be on through the lifespan. So that was worth mentioning as well.
It definitely is. And I will attest to that as well. My guy's going to be 25, my son. And, we are continually using those tools. We just recently updated his one page because he's looking for a new job. And, what does he want employers to know about him, and how do they best support him? And like you said, you think you're maybe done with them, but you're never done, right? They're living documents, always updating and changing as your family changes. Absolutely.
And one of the things I'll share is I think there's a lot of value in helping families find these tools early in their journeys.
Yes.
It allows them to have a kind of a new perspective and how they want to go forward with their child, and having the best outcomes they can have. We've done a little work with families in elementary school, and one of the feedback that we got from one particular family, the dad said was, the tools helped me and my wife have a better conversation related to our child's future, something we had never done before. And I
Right.
think by giving somebody something to talk about, people are starting to have conversations they may not have had otherwise, and starting to think about what's important and what their priorities are, and how they really want to help their child have the best life they can have. And it's really exciting to see that.
Well said, Corey.
I think that's great. And that's great info, Corey, because what we talked about in our group was some of the people, of the majority of people that we serve at our, that are at our county have been in the system for 30, 40 years. These are all new programs to them. This is all new information, and they just want to say, okay, everything's fine, everything's still the same. And then even a lot of the other team members are still stuck in the, yep, everything's still the same. Okay, let's sign off on the plan and move on. No, there's more to it. So how do I get the rest of the team on board with trying out these new forms? I feel like sometimes we're ahead of the game when it comes to other members of the team, or parents who are 70 plus years old still taking care of their 40, 50-year-old at home. It's really a barrier to try to get these off the road, up and running. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's great, and I'll do whatever I can to do it, because I think they're awesome and they're just going to help. But I think starting young is going to be a huge help in the coming years.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so important.
And like I said, the one pager I found really like helpful and stuff. And like for everyone, it's different. So maybe like, at least for me, like maybe like once a year, like see if like your goals are still the same, or if you reach that goal and set new goals like to achieve. Because like I said, like in August when I attended a Project STIR, like mine was to become like more independent and like get my story out there, and to be a motivational speaker and stuff. But now since I am a motivational speaker, I got to come up with new goals to set for myself and keep striving for greatness.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Carissa. Well said. Before we completely wrap up here, Deanna, we loved your poetry. I wonder if you want to share with us where we could find more of it. I know you mentioned a site real quick, but I didn't get it written down.
Okay, actually, like you could probably just Google my name and find some stuff. There used to be a site called voiceofnet.com that I had like 400 poems on. Unfortunately, the founder passed away a few years ago, and like they just couldn't, like some of the members tried keeping up with it. Like I think I joined in like 2007 or something like that, but they just shut it down this past April.
Okay.
And that's where the majority of my stuff was. But like I not Googled myself back in 2013, I never would have known that the magazine from the UK had used my one poem.
Wow. Okay.
Like that's like through VoiceNet, I was contacted by Knights of Columbus in Saskatchewan, Canada, and like asking to use my one poem. And I was contacted through the Center for Learning in Westlake to use 2 of my poems. And they was like back and forth. They wanted like official permission stuff, but then I never heard back from them. So Mom helped me write up another letter maybe a year later or so. Never heard back, so I was like, whatever. But Googling myself is how I found out that they did in fact use both of those poems because they're an online curriculum. And they used the two poems for honor students. I believe the directions for analyze these poems about someone with special needs or something like that.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you.
That's how I learned about the Center for Learning actually using them. Another one is a poem, one of my really old poems, because I started writing when I was like 12. Or at least that's when I started like more on a regular basis. So one of my really old poems, probably from junior high, about animal sounds, was actually used by someone living in the Philippines who was writing a book, a children's book about animal sounds in like different cultures and stuff. Like, for example, in the like here in the US, like for a frog, we say ribbit. In Philippines, they say kokak, K-O-K-A-K.
That's interesting.
So it's like different sounds for the same animal in different cultures, and that's what this woman's book, children's book, was about. And she had used my poem as inspiration for her book in the Philippines.
That's fantastic,
And we're trying to get her published. So be on the lookout. We're looking at Amazon and some other avenues.
Woohoo. Yep. Keep us posted. We want to hear about it.
Yes,
All
for
righty.
sure.
And then I'm going to go ahead and move on to wrap up. I want to thank you, Meredith, for helping me with this. If you guys have any questions, here's how to reach out to Corey, Meredith, and myself. Our next meeting is January 25th of next year. Can you believe it? It's already coming and going so quickly. Meredith mentioned about our showcase event. We're going to open registrations for that with Dr. Magro, probably right about the first of the year. We have a much more limited space this year. So if when you see it come and you want to register, please register quickly because we are concerned about it filling up. And I thank you all. Chris, I see that somebody answered you real quick about where to get the blue book. If you want to hang on the line after this, we can talk about what to do if you have negative feedback from someone. But everybody else, have a great day. And thank you so much for joining us. Take care.